Namo Buddhaya. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another video. From today's video, let's discuss about how can we deal with anxiety and what to do when our mind becomes anxious, right? We all know that how it is painful when our mind becomes anxious and when we become afraid of the things that will happen in the future, or when the mind creates all these scenarios in our head about the things that will happen in the future, right? So, how can we deal with this state of mind? There are a few things that we can do, right? But most of the time, when we become anxious, what happens is we become panicked and we take decisions that may not be the correct decision to take. Okay, so today I'm going to be sharing with you few things and few advices that I have given and that helped me a lot personally to deal with this anxiety. So the first thing that you have to do is first you have to be aware of your mental state, right? If you're anxious, if you're afraid of something, the first thing is to be aware of it and to accept it, right? Most of the time we pretend to be not to be anxious. We pretend not to be fearful about the future, and we try to reject that state of our mind. The more we reject, the more it persists in our mind. So that is why the first step is to acknowledge and accept your current state of your mind. If you're anxious, just say to yourself, okay, now my thoughts are in anxiety mode, right? My thoughts are anxious. I am fearing about certain things. Acceptance will help you to catch the thought and to be more aware of it. And also, when you accept it, it creates less pain, right? Acceptance is the first step of healing. So the first step is to accept your current mental state. And the second step is, this is amazing. Once you understand the current state of your mind, what you have to do, the biggest advice that I have given about anxiety is do one thing at a time, right? Take one action at a time, right? We all know that when we have lot to do, right? When we have many jobs to do, what happens? We start thinking about everything, right? We started loading these thoughts into our mind every time, and we try to do all at once. But in reality, we can't do all at once, right? One thing that we can do is we can take one job, one action at a time, and do that, right? So, how to do this? First of all, to clarify your thoughts and to be clear about what you have to do and what you can do and cannot do, first, sit down in a quiet place, take a piece of paper and write down all the things that you are fearing about, and write down all the things about the current situation that you are in. And also, most importantly, you have to write down the things that are in your control and things that are out of your control. When you clarify these things, you can take actions upon the things that are under your control. So, one thing that you can do is sit down, write down all the thoughts, write down current situation of your life, and write down all the things that are under your control and not under your control, so that you're very clear about what to do and what not to do, right? So when you clarify that and take one action, just one action, and what you have to do, just execute that action, right? Don't try to do all the things, just pick one action and do it at one. It's something like this, right? Something like you're grabbing a bunch of oranges, right? What will happen if you try to grab a bunch of oranges at once? You can't grab all of them, right? It will fall, they will fall. So, one thing that you can do is pick a basket, take one orange at a time, and put it into the basket. In that way, you can grab many oranges. In the same way, when you clarify your thoughts and take one action at a time and execute it, then it will be clear in your mind and it will ease up your mental state. So, do one thing at a time. And the third step is to do it slowly and deliberately, right? Even when you become clarified about what to do, don't be anxious, don't be panicked. What do you have to do it slowly, right? One thing that a lot of meditation masters teach is that when you're anxious, do something slowly, right? Slow down. When your body becomes slow down, your minds become slow down. That's the connection between the body and our mind. When our mind is slow, our body is slow. When our body is slow, our mind is slow. So do things, take that action and do it slowly and deliberately. Do it with proper consciousness, proper awareness, and proper mindfulness. That's so that you feel what you're doing. Then you understand what you're doing, right? So in that way, you can ease up this anxiety. And the last thing that you have to do is do it completely, right? Complete the action. When we are anxious about certain things, what we do, we don't complete that action, right? We just hang over that problem or that task, and we don't complete it, right? One thing that you have to do is do it completely, right? Complete your action, do it slowly, deliberately, and finally complete that action so that that step is finished, right? And then once you complete that action, what do you have to do? Take the next step and do it slowly, deliberately, and completely. In that way, you can clarify what you have to do, and also you will get a good time to take good decisions. So, this is a little way and a tiny practice that you can add to your life to ease up your pain of anxiety. And whenever you're anxious about certain things, try this and it will ease up your pain of anxiety. So keep this little advice in your mind and be happy. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Good morning, everyone. Welcome and welcome back to another video. From today's video, let's discuss about the problem of feeling worthless, right? Sometimes no matter how good we are, sometimes how good other people to us are, we feel worthless about ourselves, right? We feel that we don't have any value, right? My life, there is no value in my life. Why am I living? Have you ever felt like this? Now, this has been a big problem for me before becoming a monk, right? Before becoming a monk, we have to undergo a training period of like 1.5 years, right? I will tell you about my story. So I was staying in this monastery, and I had to learn how to become a monk, and we were practicing and everything. But since even though everything is good, everything around me is good, right? Everyone around me is good, and also even though I am doing good, that still I feel like, why am I living in this life, right? My life, there is no value in my life. Everything that I do, I fail. Sometimes I fail in my life. But when you fail like that, you think like, oh, I'm a failure, right? I don't have any value in my life. And that is not the reality, right? That when it comes to reality, that is not true. But still, mind is very good at distorting the reality and creating these scenarios in our mind to say to our life that you're worthless, right? You have no value. There is no value in your life, right? You're not good enough. So how can we deal with this? So I will tell you how I got the help from the spiritual companions and the monks and my teacher. So one time I was so upset of the things that I'm doing, and also everything that I have been doing went it went wrong, right? It wasn't successful. I was meditating, I was helping the monk, but sometimes I made mistakes, and I was worrying about these mistakes. No one complained about me. No one said nothing bad about me, but still my heart says to me that you're not good enough. You're a failure, right? So I was so upset. And now when you're in upset mindset, what is the first thing that comes out of you? It's your facial expressions, right? Someone can say your face is a reflection of your mind state. Okay, so I was upset, and one of the monks who was residing in that monastery noticed me that I'm upset. So he came up to me and said, like, tell me, what's bothering you? Is there anything that is bothering in your mind? You can say it to me. Let's discuss. So the first reaction, as usual, when someone asks from us, how are you? Or is there any problem in you? What we say? We say that, okay, I'm fine, right? There's no problem. But he understood my mental state and told me, tell me the truth. I'm here to help you. We can discuss so that we can sort out the problem. So I told this condition of my mind, mental state of my mind, that I am feeling worthless. I'm feeling that I'm a failure. And then he said, okay, you're feeling worthless. Let's say you're feeling worthless and you're feeling that you don't have any value in your life. But now I need you to check the reality. What are you doing right now? You're meditating, you're helping the monks, and you're doing all the chores, and you're still feeling worthless. Is that the reality? One thing that he said is check the reality, right? Check what is real. Because mind is pretty good at creating all the worst case scenarios and all the pessimistic thoughts in our mind. Because it's a thought pattern, right? One thing that our mind has is it has the habit of creating the thought patterns, right? Once we start to feed our mind with a certain thought patterns, it has this looping effect of creating this thought pattern again and again and again. The more we think it, the more it comes back to our mind. So he said that check the reality and understand that your life is not worthless, right? Your life, there are many things that you can be happy about, right? That's the reality. As humans, there is nothing that we can feel like my life is worthless, right? Because there are so many things that we can be happy about. Like being a human itself is something that we can be happy about, right? We got the chance to be a human and practice these good qualities, live as a good human itself is something that we can be happy about. And be happy about that you have air to breathe, right? You have people around you that smiles at you. At least something that find something that you can be happy about, because there are so many things. There are thousands and thousands of things in reality that we can be happy about. Okay, that is one thing that you have to do. Check the reality. Is it true that my mind saying that your life is worthless? But when you come to reality, you find that there are a lot of things that you can be happy about in our life. Okay, and there's another thing that you can do, and that is keep a gratitude journal, right? Write few things that you have to be like you can be happy about in your life, right? You can be happy about so many things if you think about it. So find something and write about it. And also another thing that you have to do whenever you get these kind of thought patterns is to try to give more, right? Try to help more to other people, right? Whenever you do that, you feel the value of the things that you do, right? The positive energy that you create towards other people, right? And whenever you give, whenever you help others, you see the smile of their faces. You see that people are thanking you, and you think that, oh, this is what the true value of my life, right? My life is not worthless. My life is valuable, that I can create many positive things around me in my life, so that it's not true that my mind's saying that I'm worthless, right? When you realize that, you come to this state and come to that understanding that how valuable this human life is, right? How many positive things that you can do in this life, right? When you do that, that state of mind will go away. So things that we have to do is check the reality and understand, ask from yourself that is that true, that truly that my life is worthless or not, right? And also be generous, help other people, and be happy and understand that your life is truly valuable. So keep this little advice in your mind and be happy. Namo Buddhaya. Now Buddhaya, welcome to another video. From today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you one of the most beautiful poems from the Buddha. Now, when it comes to poems, the Buddha had a great talent of uttering poems or uttering verses. We call them gathas in Buddhist texts. So there's a whole array of books that are dedicated only for the verses or the poems that was uttered by the Buddha. For an example, the Dhammapada only contains the verses that was uttered by the Buddha. Sutta Nipata, there's another book called Sutta Nipata, which contains only the verses. So when it comes to uttering poems, the Buddha had a great talent, and these poems are very rich with the direct teachings from the Buddha and very deep meanings about the life. So here's one poem from the Buddha that can inspire you and also that can give you a lot of teachings about the life. The Buddha says, "Let not a person revive the past or on the future build his hopes, for the past has been left behind and the future has not been reached. Instead, with insight, let him see each presently arising state." Now, this explains about the mindfulness. This is the whole point of practicing the Buddhist way of mindfulness. Now, when it comes to mindfulness, the word that is given in Pali language for mindfulness is sati. Sati is not always a Buddhist word, or mindfulness is not always a Buddhist word, because before the Buddha also, there were people who practiced sati, but that sati serves a different purpose. Now, if you ask from a normal person who practices the mindfulness or who practices the mindfulness meditations, why do you practice mindfulness? You can answer like, okay, mindfulness helps me to relieve from the stress, right? It makes the things easier. And also it helps me to watch my anger and to control it. Now, it is true that all these purposes are served by the mindfulness, right? All these things are served by the mindfulness to control your anger, to control your emotions, to be more mindful, and also to relieve the stress from your life. It serves that purpose. But in Buddhist practice, the mindfulness serves a purpose that is beyond from these purposes. Okay, the Buddha says, "Instead, with insight, let him see each presently arising state." Now, this is the whole point of practicing the Buddhist way of mindfulness, which we call sammasati. It is to see the change. It is to see the impermanence nature of life. In the first, the Buddha says, "Let not a person revive the past." That means, if you understand what is past, the past is gone. It is over now, right? So the Buddha says, do not run back into the past. Or on the future, build his hopes, right? Do not build hopes for the future. Why? The Buddha says, for the past has been left behind. Now, what is past is over now. It doesn't exist, right? And the future has not been reached. Still, the future hasn't reached. So instead, what we have to do is, with insight, let him see each presently arising state. What we have to do is to contemplate, to focus our mind, to focus our awareness on this present state of mind. We only live in this present moment, right? We don't live in past. We don't live in future. We can't live in past or we can't live in future. We only have the only moment that we own in this life is this moment that is fleeting. So what Buddha says is to be more mindful about the experiences that happens in this present moment. Because if you think about the past, it is just an illusion of your mind, right? For an example, we can think about the experiences that happened in the past. We can regenerate that experience in our mind. But that experience is something that happens when we think about the past. That experience is something that happens in right now, but it is disguised as past. We think it is past. Who thinks it is past? We think it, right? But that very thought happens in this very moment. Okay. So, how to practice the mindfulness is to be less judgmental, or to be no judgment, to have no judgment about the experiences that happens in this present moment, and also to be more aware of it, right? Mindfulness is non-judgmental awareness. For an example, someone can think, okay, when you become mindful, you only keep your mind in the good place, in a good state. No, the Buddha says, saragang va chittang, saragang chittang ti bhajanati. That means when one has a lustful mind, he understands that lustful mind as it is, right? That means when he has anger in his mind, he understands the state of mind, that thought, as anger. Now, the problem is we become so much judgmental about the experiences that we have. Either we try to react positively, either we try to respond positively, or to react negatively, right? For an example, let's say we have an uncomfortable thought in our mind. For an example, like anger. What we do is we try to reject that thought, right? We try to reject and we try to push that thought out of our mind. The more we push, the more we create the anger. Okay, so in mindfulness, what we do is we don't judge, we don't label that thought, we just see it as it is. Now, when you do that, you start to not to react to that very thought. And once you start to not to react, once you stop your reactions, what happens? The angry thought is no longer an angry thought, because an angry thought becomes an angry thought when we start to react to it, right? It's something like this. Like you're seeing a traffic pass by, right? You're sitting beside the road and you're seeing a traffic pass by. You don't jump into the middle of the road and you don't try to stop the vehicles, or you don't try to chase behind the vehicles. What you do is you sit beside the road and you look at the vehicles and understand it as it is, right? So that you don't involve in them. You don't become judgmental about them, okay? And that is the practice of mindfulness. Whatever comes to your mind, you're mindful of it. The problem is why we become angry, why we become jealous, and why all these evil thoughts come to our mind is we are not mindful of it. Once you learn how to be mindful, you start to be less judgmental and less reactive to those thoughts, right? And also, you start to think before you act, right? Your mind becomes slower and slower so that you can catch the very thought when it arises. And that is the pinnacle of practicing the mindfulness. And also, then you understand that every thought has its own arising and it passes away, right? So every experience that we have has the nature of arising and passing away. Once you realize this nature, the arising nature and the passing away nature, that is what we call the impermanence. And that is called the true nature of life. In Pali, we call it anicca, the change. Now, the Buddha says, once you realize something is subjected to change, and once you realize that everything is subjected to change, everything is anicca, the next realization is if something is subjected to change, it is suffering, right? It is related to suffering. For an example, every suffering in our life, right? Every painful situation, every suffering that we have in our life is due to change, right? We think that we wish the things are not to change, but they change. We wish that certain experiences to not to change, but they changes. We expect that people to not to change, but they change. So every suffering in our life is due to change or anicca. So the Buddha says, yada niccang tan dukkha. What is subjected to change is suffering. And the next part is yan dukkhang tadanatta. If something is suffering, that should not be considered as self, I or mine or myself, right? So the Buddha says, if something is subjected to suffering, it should not be considered as self or myself. So that is the way to understand the concept of not self. So these three signs of this existence, these three signatas of existence, which is called the anicca, the impermanence, and dukkha, suffering, and anatta, the not self, is the three signata. These are the three signs of this existence, and the whole point of practicing the Buddhist way of mindfulness is to understand these three signatas, the reality of life. So that is why the Buddha says, when you practice mindfulness, when you contemplate and when you focus your mind to this present moment, when it is arising, you know it. When it passes away, you know it. You are mindful of it. And that is the way to understand the true nature of our life. And the next part of this verse is so beautiful. It is so inspiring. The Buddha says, today the effort must be made. Tomorrow death may come. Who knows? No bargain with mortality. That is one beautiful word. No bargain with mortality. Understand that we all are mortal people. We all are subjected to death, and we all are dying. And there is no bargain with it. When that incident comes to our life, we have to get ready to go. So that when you understand this, the living moment, this present moment is so valuable for you to practice this dharma, for you to practice this spirituality, right? Once you understand that you are subjected to death, you value the value of life. And in the next part, the Buddha says, can keep him and his hordes away, but one who dwells thus ardently, relentlessly, by day and night, it is he, the peaceful sage has said, who has had a single excellent night. Once you understand the true nature of the existence, and once you are not running back to the past, and once you learn how to not to expect the future, and once you learn how to be in this present moment, and to understand the true nature of life, you can live an excellent night or an excellent day or an excellent life. So this is what Buddha meant from this beautiful poem. So the whole point of practicing the mindfulness in Buddhist practice is to understand the impermanence of life. So I think this little poem will help you to understand more about the Buddha's way of practicing mindfulness. So I have mentioned all the links and all the things that you need to read about this sutra and this poem in the descriptions below. So go check it out them, and also try to practice this mindfulness in your life. Try to add it to your daily life and enjoy a peaceful and a happier life. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to today's video. Today, I want to share with you how can we deal with accusations in life. Now, there are two types of accusations. The first one is the true accusation, and the second one is the false accusation. Now, no matter how good we are, no matter how better in life we are, mistakes can happen and people can accuse us. So how can we deal with this? Now, in Buddhism, it teaches you when you have been accused in any kind of way, whether it is a true accusation, whether it is a false accusation, you have to establish two qualities in your mind. Okay? What are these two qualities? In Buddhism, it teaches you have to establish the truthfulness in your mind. Okay? You have to be truthful. The second one is you have to be kind at that time. You have to establish the love and kindness at that time. Now, why should we practice and why should we establish these two qualities? most of the time, when we have been falsely accused, we have been falsely accused, one of the things that we lose is our kindness and our patience. We become panicked and we try to prove ourselves that we are not wrong, we are right, and we use anger and we use that rudeness to prove ourselves that we are right. But when you become so much panicked, and whenever you use your anger and hate to prove yourself right, it's very unproductive and it becomes very unsuccessful in proving that, because most of the time people will never listen to you when you are angry, and people will never listen to you when they are angry as well. So that is why in Buddhism it teaches you, first thing, that one of the best things that you can do is to be kind and to be patient when you are being accused. And the second quality is to establish your mind in truthfulness. Now, what do you mean by that? Let's say you've been accused for a mistake that you have done. Okay. Sometimes we don't like to accept that we have done a mistake. Okay. So at that time we lie and we say like, no, we didn't do that. I didn't do that. But in Buddhism, it teaches you, if you have done a mistake, just accept it and make it correct. Try to correct yourself. Okay. And if you have not done it, you have to clearly say, and patiently, with kindness and compassion, you have to clearly say that I didn't do it. Okay. So in that way, you have to establish the truthfulness in your mind. These are the two qualities that we have to practice and you have to develop when we have been accused in any kind of way. So when we add these wonderful two qualities to your life, you try this and see the difference that you get from the accusations. When you accept the mistake that you have done, you gain the trust of the people around you. Okay, so it is very important to practice these simple two qualities in your life. Practice these things and be happy. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. Today, let's talk about war. Now, 2-3 months ago, we have seen a lot of things in this world that is happening, right? We have seen people get killed, people get murdered, nations destroyed. And there are a lot of things has happened, and it is happening even for today. So in this video, I'm not going to talk about who is wrong, okay? Because so many people are trying to justify each other and say that they are wrong and we are not wrong, okay? But they will never come to one conclusion, who is wrong, and they will never find it. Today, let's talk about why it is wrong. So what Buddha said about war. One thing that Buddha said about war, listen to this carefully. This is very wise. The Buddha said, Jayang verang pasavati, dukkhang seti parajayo, upasanto sukhang seti, hitva jaya parajayo. The victory gives rise to hate, and the defeated dwells in pain. Once you give up both victory and defeat, then you will be happy forever. That is what Buddha said. Now, what does it mean? When you try to win over someone, when you try to find that victory, it gives rise to hate. The defeated person will hate you. Okay? And the defeated person will dwell in pain forever. Okay? So when you try to win over someone, when you try to win over a nation, what will happen? It gives rise to the hate. People will start to hate you. And also, you create the pain in this world. So what Buddha says is, give up both defeat and victory and focus on yourself. Focus on winning on yourself. Once you focus on yourself, you try to win your ego. Win over your ego. You try to destroy your ego. The Buddha said this, more than fighting 1,000 battles, okay, more than doing 1,000 battles and winning 1,000 countries, the best thing that you can do is to win yourself, conquer yourself, and defeat your ego and that unwholesome things in your mind. When you focus into yourself and when you try to win yourself, you will never harm anyone and it will never give rise to hate. Okay? So in this world, people try to solve the problems through hate, through wars, through hurt, and through pain. But it will never be solved. There is no any single problem that is solved by anger, by the pain, by hurt, by wars. Look at the world. Okay, throughout this human history, we have been through a lot of wars, but none of those wars have been solved through the war. The Buddha said, "Nahi vere na verani sammanti da kudachana, avere ne cha sammanti esa dhammo sanattano." The hatred will never cease by hatred. You cannot never end hatred. You will never be able to end hatred through hatred. Okay? You will never be able to end wars through wars. Okay? Avere nacha sammanti esa dhammo sanattano. If you need to solve a problem, if you need to end hatred, if you need to end a war, the only way that you can do is to not to do wars, not to hate each other, and by forgiving and by letting go. So if you need to solve any problems in this world that gives rise through hate, you need to let go and you need to forgive. At any point in your life, you have to forgive if you need to solve these problems. And then you will find the peacefulness. Now, the Buddha said, if you need to end the hatred, you need to forgive. You need to let go. That is an eternal law in this world. So keep this in your mind. So let's wish to all the people who are suffering from wars and anger and hatred, may all of them be happy and peaceful forever. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. Now, a couple of days ago, I met this young gentleman, and he was in his 30s. He was very young. And he said that he has been practicing spirituality, meditation, and Buddhism for a long period of time, more than 4 years. And he said, all of a sudden, unfortunately, his parents died because of a car crash. And with that incident, none of his spiritual practices and meditations and what he have learned about the spirituality and Buddhism, none of them worked. And he started to grieve and suffer and the pain. He could not handle it. So he asked from me, how can I handle this grief and how can I handle this losing loved ones? So here's the thing. It is very difficult. I know it is very difficult to handle this situation because losing loved ones is one of the most difficult things and most difficult pains that we have to go through in all of our lives. Okay? The Buddha said that this is one of the truths in our life. We all have to face, no matter where we are born, no matter who we are, we all have to go through this situation. Either we are going to lose our loved ones or they are going to lose us. Okay, this is the truth in our life. But how can we handle the pain when we go through these tough times? It is all about practice. And it is and also remember, no matter how much you practice the spirituality and no matter how much you practice these meditations, all the things about the spirituality, don't think that you're going to be okay with losing loved ones. Okay, you will definitely feel sadness. You will definitely feel that grief inside you because that is the truth in our life. But there are several things that we can do to handle this pain. Okay, there are several things that we can do to get up from this pain. It is not about how often you fall down. It is about how you stand up and how you bounce back from that difficult situation. So one thing that we have to remember is that one advice that Buddha gave us is try to recall and try to reflect about the life, the truth in this life, that I'm going to lose every loving person around me. Now, this may seem scary to you because No one likes to think that they are going to lose the loving people, maybe their parents, maybe their husband and wife, children. No one likes to think about it. They're going to lose that person. But the reality is that one day we have to face that situation. No one can deny it. No one can deny the truth. Okay? So when you think about it and when you get ready for that situation, to make up your mind to face that situation with a strong mind, then it is very easy for you to ease the pain. It doesn't mean that you don't feel the pain. It means that it will help you to ease the pain and get out from it and get on with your life again. Okay? So the Buddha said, oftenly, this is one advice from the Buddha. The Buddha said, Sabbehi me piyehi manapehi nana bhavo vina bhavoti abhinnang pachavekithabbad. Oftenly reflect that I am going to lose loving people around me one day. Okay? When you know that, when you think about it in the correct way, you know that you don't have much time with these people. You have a little time with these people. In this human world, we have a little time, right? We don't have much time. So you know that if we were able to live like more than 90 years, okay, that is very lucky, that we are very lucky. So that is the thing. We have little time on this earth. Okay, we have little time with these people. In that little time, if we know that we are going to lose them, in that little time, we can cherish the memories, and we can be with them. We can treat them kindly. We can treat them with compassion. Okay, and we can be a good person to them, be a good memory to them. So if you became a good memory to the people around you, then you don't have to worry about losing them. Why? Because you became a good person to them. Okay, you made them happy and you treated them kindly. That is what they need, and that's what people need. That's what people around us need from us. Okay, so in that little time we gave the best we can. Okay, so in that way you can be happy. Okay, although this person left me, although my parents died or left me, although my husband or wife, my children left me, I don't want to worry about it because I became a happy memory, a good memory to them. I treated them nicely and kindly while they were alive. Okay, by thinking that, you can be happy, but you get the chance to think about it only when you think about that you're going to lose them one day. Okay, so thinking about losing loved ones is not that negative. Okay, if you think it in a correct way. So if you have gotten ready for that, then you think like, oh, this is what I have expected, and I was expecting this. Okay, so in that way, remember, one day we all have to go through this situation. If we can make up our mind to be a good person and to be a good memory to them, then that is the best thing that you can do. And also remember one thing, okay? There are people, loving people around you, and they became the source of happiness of yourself. And when they die, don't make them the source of your pain. Okay, if they see you that you're wailing and you're crying and you're lamenting and you're worrying about their death, they will not be happy. And also remember, the people who lived around you became the source of your happiness. So after their death, do not make them the source of your pain and agony. So keep them in your mind. So treat people nicely and kindly while they are alive, and then you can be happy with your life. Namo Buddhaya. When life hits you hard, and when you are in that dark place, sometimes we make excuses saying that this is my destiny, this is my fate, and this is my bad luck, and this is my karma. Well, what if I told you not everything that happens in your life is your bad luck? It is not always according to your destiny or fate. There are certain things that we can do to change our destiny and fate. Okay, so let's discuss about it in this video. Now, some of you have been asked in the comment section that is everything that happens in life is predetermined or due to karma? Okay, so I'm going to give you the answer for this question. Before giving the answer to this question, let's look at how Buddha taught about this perspective. The Buddha says those who hold on to the idea of everything that happens, every experience that happens in our life is predetermined, whether it is good, bad, or neutral, that every feeling, every experience in life is predetermined or is due to bad karma or karma that is in the past. That perspective, that weave leads to inactivity, or that weave make that person a lazy person. So the Buddha says, just because this is your bad luck or destiny or karma, you should give up trying. The Buddha never says like that. The Buddha says, always try something to make your life a better one. Okay? The Buddha says there are certain things that can be done to change our destiny. Okay? Now, so many of you believe that destiny cannot be changed. Well, it's wrong. Destiny can be changed according to the choices that we make right here, right now. So that is why it is very important to remember that not everything that is happening in our life, whether it is good or bad or neutral, is always due to bad karma. Okay? There are certain phenomena and there are certain things and processes that happens in our life out of this concept of destiny. Okay? Let's say you're trying to go to work and you're getting ready to go to work, and all of a sudden there will be a huge rain. Okay? Now, that rain is due to bad karma? No. That is a phenomena, and that is a process that happens in this environment. Well, rather than complaining about this bad karma, rather than complaining about our destiny, why can't we choose to do something about it? Why can't we try to change the situation? If we can change the situation, then definitely we can do it. That is why there's a great saying that says, if you have a problem in your life, okay, if you can do something about that problem to change that problem or make it a better one, okay, come out of that problem, then you should not worry about it, because certainly you can do something about it. Okay? And there are certain problems that appears in your mind and in your life that you cannot do anything about it. Well, if you cannot do anything about it, we should not worry about it. Okay? So that is why always remember, karma is a bigger part in our life. It plays a bigger role in our life, but we can change certain things. Okay, we can change our destiny by choosing to make correct choices in this present moment. So that is why what I have to share in this video today. Never ever believe that your destiny cannot be changed. You can choose to do it by making correct choices. Work hard and do not ever give up in your life. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be answering a question from the comments. So the question is, please tell us how to be mentally strong. We need it very much. So let's talk about this today. How to be mentally strong and how to develop a strong mindset. Well, first of all, let's take a look at what is a strong mindset is. Now, just take a look at this Dhammapada verse from the Buddha. The Buddha said, Selo yatha ekagano vatenana samirati evang ninda pasangsasu nasami janti pandita. As a rock that is unshaken by the storm, so too the wise are unshaken by the praise and the blame. Now, have you seen these big masses of rock? No matter how fast the wind blows, it is not shaken. The Buddha said, same like that rock, The wise people, they are unshaken by the praise and the blame in their life. And that is a strong mindset. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a few tips that you can practice to build up a strong mindset. Tip number 1 is to maintain a stable mindset in ups and downs in life, right? You know, life is like an ocean. Sometimes ocean is calm and quiet and peaceful, and sometimes it is stormy, right? We face ups and downs in life. The Buddha said these are called 8 worldly conditions, attaloka dhamma. That means praise and blame, gain and loss, fame and disgrace, and pleasure and pain. These are the 8 worldly conditions that we face in our life. Remember these things. So Buddha said, accept these ups and downs in life. Whenever people criticize you, whenever people blame you, whenever you go through tough times in your life, if you can be mindful about your mind and your emotions and your feelings, and not to chase after these emotions and feelings, then you can be more stable in these situations. You can maintain a good emotional balance in these situations. So it is very important to be mindful and to practice the self-awareness in these situations. And also remember, you will not be able to always get the sweet comments and sweet opinions and sweet experiences in your life. Life will give tough times to you. Life will throw lemons at you. So you have to maintain a stable mindset whenever you go through these situations by practicing the mindfulness and the self-awareness. Remember that. Tip number 2 is to build the resilience inside the mind. You know, the resilience means the ability to stand up and bounce back when you go through the adversities and when you go through the challenging situations in your life. To practice this, one thing that you have to know and one thing that you have to understand is that what is in your control and what is not in your control. If you have a good understanding about what is in my control in my life and what is not in my control in my life, right? For an example, if people comes up to you and if they're starting to criticize you, those criticisms, those words that other people speaks about you is not under your control. But what is in your control is your reaction to them. It is always a choice. You can think about this like, should I become angry with this? Should I take this negativity? Should I share this negativity with them and be negative as them? If you can question like that, then you're not ready to take that negativity. And also remember, having a strong mindset does not mean that you're falling down and you're feeling hurt and you're feeling down. Having a strong mindset means you can stand up as soon as possible when you go through these tough situations. You can quickly stand up and you can quickly retrieve back to the normal situations in your life. That is called the resilience. So to practice this, you have to have a good understanding about what is in your control in your life and what is not in your control. The experiences happens to you and the things that people say to you, other people's opinions, other people's thoughts about you is not under your control. But all the things that is inside your mind, your opinions about them, your reaction to those experiences, totally under your control. So if something is not under your control, you don't want to worry about it because you cannot make any change about it. But if something is under your control, definitely you can make a change about it. You can change your choice, but not others. So remember that. And also you have to cultivate a problem-solving mindset. If you're easily panicked by the problems, or if you're easily triggered by the problems, then it is not easy to solve the problems, right? But if you can maintain a calm and a peaceful mindset, even when you go through the problems or tough situations in your life, then it is very easy to go into the roots and solve the problems. Sometimes we take the problems as ourselves. Like we think we are the anger. I am this problem. Why is this happening to me? Right? Remember, everything that happens to you will be impermanent. It is not permanent thing, right? It will be changed one day. So what do you have to do? Keep that problem aside and try to dive into the roots of that problem. Ask from yourself, why this thing happened to me, right? What is the reason for this, right? What is the real reason for this? Where did I make the mistakes? And go to that problem, go to the root, and then you can solve that problem. That is how you build up a problem-solving mindset. And finally, tip number 3, last but not least, you have to practice a mindset of self-love and self-compassion. Remember, if you're loving yourself, if you truly love yourself, you're not going to take other people's negativity with you, right? You're not ready to take other people's negativity with you. Whatever the thing that comes up to you, whatever the person comes up to you and like bring their negativity with you, you say, well, I'm not going to take this negativity with me. I want to be peaceful. I want to love myself. I truly love myself. Therefore, I'm not ready to take your negativity. I'm not sharing this negativity with you. That is called self-love and self-compassion, right? To practice this, you can add up a simple practice that you can do it daily, right? When you get up early in the morning, just sit on your bed and think, no matter what happens during the day, I am going to love myself. I'm not going to take any negativity from this world, right? I'm going to empty my bin and I'm going to take a new bin to this world, right? You know, if you've kept all the bad things and trash in your bin for a long time, what will happen? If you're in your trash bin, it will start to smell, no? But if you remove every single day all the trash in your bin and make it make it a clean place, then it's very easy to live. It's very easy to be peaceful within. So practice the self-compassion and self-love to build a strong mindset. Some people think that the people who are easily lose their temper, some people think that people who show their toughness and rudeness, they have this strong mindset. But no, anger and showing this negativity is not a sign of strength. It's a sign of weakness, right? If you are easily triggered by people, if you're easily triggered by the people's reactions, then it's not a strong mindset. The strong mindset is the mindset that is not disturbed by the ups and downs in your life. So practice these simple steps, right? Build a stable mindset, make your mind a resilient one, and finally, love yourself more than any other person in this world. When you practice these steps, you can build up a mindset that is unshaken by the ups and downs in your life. So I wish you all, may all of you find the happiness in your life. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome and welcome back to another video. I think you can remember, in last video we talk about how little changes, little things can make big changes in our life. Okay, so in life, the little things matter the most. So in this video, I'm gonna be sharing with you 3 simple daily practices that can make a huge impact in all of our lives. So if we practice this, it is guaranteed that it can help you in many ways. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive into the video. So the first practice is to practice gratitude, right? So most of the time, we are not happy with the life that we have gotten, right? We think my life is terrible, right? This is worthless. I'm not worth living. But when you practice gratitude, the first thing that we can do is to be grateful for our life. Every day, when you wake up in the morning, just close your eyes and think,
I am grateful for the life that I have gotten, right? I'm grateful for every experience that the life have given me, that made me strong, that taught me many lessons. So be grateful for your life first. As the second step, be grateful for every person who is living around you. Okay, there are many people who have taught you many lessons, good or bad. Okay, there are good people who have given you nice memories, and there are bad people who have taught you good lessons to your life. Be grateful for everyone, no matter who the person is. It doesn't matter. Okay, so the one practice is to practice the gratitude. That is very simple. Take a few moments to do that. So the second practice is to practice mindfulness. During your day, take a few moments, maybe like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, to be mindful about what you're doing. To be mindful, you don't want to sit in one place or like do in a meditation posture. All what you have to do is to be mindful or to focus your mind to what you're doing. Maybe like if you're walking, just know that you're walking. Be mindful about it. Pay your attention to it. Okay? Or sit in a quiet place or sit in a relaxed place. Sit on a chair, maybe sit in the meditation posture, and just focus on the in-breath and the out-breath, how you breathe. Okay? That is one practice that you can practice to be mindful. And the final practice is to have a positive self-talk. Instead of positive self-talk, what we are doing, we talk negatively to ourselves. We think like, oh, I'm worst, right? I don't have any value in this life. Nobody loves me. Nobody takes care of me. The more you do it, it will make you a habit, and it will make your inner personality more negative, to think more negatively. So what we can do is take a little time in the day to have a positive self-talk with yourself. You think you value yourself. Oh, I am worthy of loving, right? I'm worthy of living. My life is great. Okay, I can do many things. I can be more productive than I am. Okay, always believe in yourself. This is one thing that I see in many people and many of our lives, that we can be more productive than now we are. Okay, we can be more productive and more successful than who we are now. Okay, so have a positive self-talk. Then it will make you a big change in the long run. So practice these little simple practices in your day and make your life a better one. Namo Buddhaya.